Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we're going to be talking about this article by Brent Ozar, who I've followed some of his stuff for a while now, but I had no less than three people like, "Hey Greg, did you see this?" And he sent a link to Brent's article here, and so and basically what Brent's complaining about here is that Fabric is just plain unreliable, and that Microsoft is hiding it. So and talks about like Microsoft went down yet again last week, right? And he's complaining about their status page is complete BS, right? Because it's not reporting any of the outages, and people are have to like go to the status gator, which is kind of interesting. So status gator here, yeah, I hadn't really heard about it before, but they do have a free version where you can track like up to like three different things. So you can actually track Microsoft Fabric status for free. So they have the service health, right? They How accurate is Microsoft Fabric status page? It rates a D. It's poor. It's usually a delay of like 2 to 4 hours, or it's never acknowledged, right? So they're tracking, when the Fabric service is down, and these Microsoft's just not acknowledging that it's down on the page at all. And then they have more information about recent outages and things like that, which we'll get into in a minute. But postmortems are just false basically. He's covers that and that sort of thing. Um, Microsoft hides the Fabric outage as quickly as possible. The status dashboard and everything. And then there's a couple things that, and so he doesn't beat around the bush about this. He's calling Microsoft out. And it's interest to me because I've been saying this all along that Fabric was, buggy and garbage, and that it's just not reliable, and that anybody that bets their enterprise, you know, data, systems and enterprise reporting on Fabric is an idiot, right? I mean, it's just a bad idea, and I would say Brent probably agrees with me on that. Although I've not spoken with him directly. But then he does say this about Fabric does not have a service level agreement. That is actually incorrect. So actually, Microsoft, you can go out to the service level agreements for online services. You download a Word document, and the Word document, if there is Microsoft Fabric, is in here, um, and it has an SLA. So there's a bunch of definitions and everything. And you go down here, and it's like, oh, maximum available minutes minus downtime, maximum available minutes. If it's less than 99.9, then everyone should get a 10% credit back that was affected. If it's less than 99%, then they should get a quarter of their fees back for Microsoft Fabric. And this is done on a 30-day basis, is my understanding, if you read through this whole thing. But what gets interesting about that then is that Microsoft probably owes some people some money. Um, so let's go ahead and do the numbers here, which may explain. Like the other thing that he points out is that like he gives them credit. It's like, hey, the Azure status, the right page, it works just awesome, and it has prominent link to the Azure status history where it calls out major outages and their postmortems. But the Fabric team doesn't do this. And again, goes back to what I've been saying is that the Fabric team seems to be an anomaly within Microsoft that just can't get anything done correctly. They seem to be a completely dysfunctional team at the present. Let's put it that way. Just in terms of the amount of bugs that are in the code, how shoddy their programming is, that they can't keep their service up, right? It's all bad, right? Let's get back into here. So if we go by this, so 6 hours and 25 minutes, 3 hours and 15 minutes, 24 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour and 30 minutes, right? So and you can sign up to see all the incidents. So if we go by this, right, and we would bring up our handy dandy calculator here, right? So let's get into it. So you have 30 days, right? 30 days times 24 hours in a day times 60 hours or 60 minutes in an hour. So you get 43,200 minutes in 30 days. All right, so we're going to store that. Now we're going to multiply that by 0.999, subtract memory recall. So 43.2 minutes was what they're allowed to be down in a 30-day time period, right? So if you divide that by 60, right, we have not even an hour, right? About 3/4 of an hour, roughly, which they obviously, like just on here, anybody that was affected by this one, or that one, it immediately meets that threshold, right? And if you combine these two together, you're getting pretty close. 20 minutes and 24 minutes, that's getting pretty close, I would say. So to that 43.2. So yeah, you exceeded it. So if you're affected by these two, you're also deserve that credit, that 10% credit. So now let's go with this. Now let's go this route. Let's go memory recall times 0.99 or 9, only two nines of availability, right? So that minus memory recall equals 432 minutes divided by 60 is 7.2 hours. So again, if you were affected by, probably one or two of these, especially this one, especially if you're affected by all of these, right? May 13th, 14th, 19th, 20, then you should be getting a 25% credit back on the last on May for fabric, whatever. And here's the interesting thing. Here, see, I don't see anything in Microsoft's online service agreement about how credits are applied. Like, do you have to submit to Microsoft and say, hey, I deserve a credit because you guys suck? Or is it applied automatically? So um, you, I'm really kind of curious, is anybody going to get a 25% discount or money back for their Microsoft Fabric capacities for the month of May? Because obviously, I would say that there should be at least one person out there that was affected by this 6 hours and pretty much deserves their, probably like by two of these and deserves their money back, at least 25% of it. So, will Microsoft actually own up and pay people back? No, they won't, because I think they're just completely incompetent. They are so incompetent, right? They can't keep their status page up. They don't know when their service is down, right? They're so incompetent that they can't possibly even know when they're missing their SLAs. That's how bad the Microsoft Fabric team is, right? So yeah, go bet your enterprise data platform on something like that, people. No, thank you. That's all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.